it doesn't mean the season wasn't fulfilling or a disappointment. So at that point, I started to accumulate some things and just some highlights from the season. And if you guys have any that I'm missing, some obvious ones, you can kind of shout them out. One was the Chelsea fight back. We ended up losing that game, so that wasn't great. But to roar back from the circumstances in that game, that was honestly one of the most fun games for me as the coach. Sure, lost to them? No. But the way it all shook down, that was fine. They got their one area win, and that was nice. And it kind of made us focus a little bit. But like celebrating Yui's goal when he bangs that one in with a couple minutes left, and like, all right, here we go, we got these guys. That for me was a top moment. I've got a top 8 written down here for somehow I couldn't get to 10. This one's a little mean-spirited, but so it was right before the final already, and we were standing. They asked for captains and coaches. They line you up between those bathrooms, and we're standing there with McGill Tulin, and we had seen their kind of star play. We'd seen him at some point earlier in the day or the day before. He had these socks that were. They had like big circles cut out of the back, like obviously deliberately cut out. So they had these enormous holes in the back of his socks. It's whatever. I wasn't passing a judgment. But before every single soccer game, the refs ask you with your captain there and the other coaches, they're like, hey coaches, will your players be legally and properly equipped? And you just kind of say yes. Like, yes, of course. And their coach says, yes, of course. And without even looking at that player, she just goes, those socks aren't legal. And just like the disappointment on the kid's face. And I'm not trying to be mean-spirited. Maybe it sounds like I'm being meaner than it was. It was hilarious. Because he's obviously worn them every single game like that, and it's the state final where she's saying, you can't wear those on my team. Here's a good one. What was the score against Fort Payne at halftime? Where were we at? 2 up. So we were in, I think that's the game, right? There you go, Giffen. We were in the locker room, and this is when. No, that wasn't the right game because it wasn't the Fort Payne game. All right. Regardless, there was a game because it wasn't Sam because this is a Sam Malone story. Sam Malone was already concussed, bless his heart, and so this was and to be fair, Sam was a great assistant coach in those few games. I honestly loved him. Him barking at our back line during the Chelsea game, I loved. It's like, please do my job for me. But we were there at halftime for whatever game this was, and it was a big game. It was a big home game, and so Briarwood, first area game. So Sam's not playing. He's been kind of assuming this coaching role. So I'm like, hey, all right, I've done my piece. I'm like, hey, Sam, what do you got to say to these guys? And he just starts dropping F-bombs. And while I appreciate the hype, who said it best? He's like Coach over there. He's like the drunk uncle who's got the mic at the wedding. Someone take it away from me. And the point, we were really hype about it, but it was kind of like, okay. I give you one chance. It was great. Here's a weird one, but it really was a good moment. It was Lakeshore Shootout. It was, I guess we played the morning game against Springs. We were waiting to play Bryant, and you guys remember the crazy weather that weekend. It was pouring rain at times, there's hail at times, but it was me, Hardy, Ethan, a couple other people. We had a roly-poly. We were sitting against the fence, and there's just hail coming down. And that's it. That's it was just nice. We were just hanging out, waiting on a game, eating some sandwiches, a couple guys just talking. It was nice, right? That was actually the first moment I wrote down when I was making this. In part because the sandwich was killer. Mountain Brook overtime, the 2-1 to win the area. My goodness. How fun was that, right? Sitton, what a goal. Sitton's got something in his blood for scoring in big games. It's worth noting. But, man, that occasion, and who would have thought at that point in the season, as many people were out there and as fun as that was, that'd be not even that's just the beginning of the hype for our season. But to beat your noisy rival in OT on their home field and win an area championship, it doesn't get any better. Number 3 should maybe be higher. the Alex Cochran celebration. Does everyone know the story at this point?
Tell it. Tell the story.
What? You don't want to tell? I can tell, man. I'll leave the name out. I would love to hear your version of it, if you want.
Get up on the stage. Let's go. Yeah.
You don't have to. Briarwood is the setting. Briarwood at home.
Briarwood at home. We're up 4-0. 4-0. 4-0. All right, first I gotta get like backstory. So.
Okay, I'm putting you on a clock here.
Okay, go. Start before he starts it. All right. So practice, I just be like making jokes and be like, "Yo, Emma Blackman looked at me." Emma Blackman looked at me in the hallway, like, because she's. Y'all know. She's like one of the hottest girls. I'm like, yeah, Emma Blackman looked at me in the hallway, dude. She wants me, bro. I'm just like constantly making jokes at practice, and then I get subbed off at halftime, and I told Gage, I'm like, if I score a goal, I'm gonna throw a heart up for him. And so then I get subbed back on. I'm about to get subbed off for Cedric. I just look in the sky, I was like, this is it, bro. I walked in, freest corner ever. Yusuf just whips it in, and I nodded in, and I'm like, let's go, and I'm looking for it. I saw Coach McBride, I don't know, he just like kind of came to me, I was like, let's go. And I'm like looking over here, I'm like, where's Emma? She's all the way over there, warming up, and I'm just like, The picture. I have it on my phone.
It's his lock screen.
We got a photo after the Mountain Brook game.
Oh my goodness.
I can actually snap it right now.
Okay. Yeah. That's way better than I could have done. All right. Moment 2, winding down. What do you guys think it's going to be? Players? Two left. Number 1's pretty obvious.
Minor shootout.
Yeah, the minor. Which one? Number 2, again, the Mountain Brook playoff. And what an occasion, what a way to steal it. Again, sit and step it up when we need him to. But maybe not even on a personal note, just for all of us, to see the atmosphere we had out there that night for a Homewood High School soccer game. I shared with some of you guys at some point, I don't know if it was before that game, after that game, but like Sonny Farron saying to me, like, Coach, I think we're a soccer school now. Yeah, because after their big game against Chelsea and then ours, and she might be onto something. But obviously the game was great. So much fun to you saw the celebration, what it meant to all of us. But man, to have all our friends and family out there, there's only one way that game was going to go. It was difficult, no doubt, but there's only one way that game was going to go with that kind of love and support behind us. So it's like to watch and to think about like what we used to play in front of, and not that we had a packed house every night. I mean, I think, and in particular those February nights, you look up there against Altamont, and there's a third of the parents have shown up because it's 32 degrees, and they're like, well, yeah, we're not going to that one. But so not all the games like that, but man, what an atmosphere. So I look forward to more of that next season. Number 1, just everything about that final weekend, getting to celebrate winning this thing. Y'all saw the photos. That, by the way, that was one of the more tame photos taken off the team bus with their shirts off. It was. Yeah, don't bring it up. Yeah, no, that was a good decision. I was the last one on the bus, and I remember I get on the bus and I just look to the back and I see Hardy first without a shirt off, but there's a couple of them. And I'm just like, really? Like already? But we had an absolute blast, and that's what it's all about. The trophy's great and all, but just those moments with your best friends, getting to be idiots on the bus. I mean, the hug with Luke that got made fun of, but I did tackle him a little bit, but that was one of my favorite things of the weekend. I gave a big bear hug to Hardy a second later, and it's just those individual moments where it's like, we've been working our butts off since November, really, and to culminate in this, you look around, your best friends around you, your parents, your friends out there, it's like, it is the absolute best, and It was fun to do as a player. Coach O will agree. Even more fun as a coach. It really, really was. And to get to do the trophy hoist at the end is, you guys know, is the most fun as a soccer player. And so I know Hardy, no one else was going to take that trophy other than you and lead us in that. So those are my top 8 moments of the 2021 high school soccer season. So I've got some certificates to